What's going on, everyone? So, Sacramento Kings, look, just fired their coach, De'Aaron Fox, and all the rumors and conversation about him potentially, eventually, asking out, which I do believe he will at some point. I can see him kind of finishing the season, writing out the season, kind of giving the Kings through the trade deadline to see if maybe they can pull something off. Nothing really changes. I think he'll end up asking out in the offseason. Plenty of suitors, I'm sure, that would love to go and get De'Aaron Fox. But you just kind of look at the circumstances and you just look at the position the Sacramento Kings are in. They're on a 6-game losing streak. I don't see it turning around. I don't know what trade you can end up making that's out there that is magically going to turn it around, and now you're going to fix it and be a contender in the next year, maybe two, and convince De'Aaron Fox to stay. I just don't see a path that gets there. It's not like Sacramento is flushed with like all these assets that everyone wants and all these young talent and all that. It's just, I think Sacramento is going to ultimately have to have a fire sale. Now, question is that if they end up ultimately trading De'Aaron Fox, what do they do with everyone else? Do they try to kind of retool, or do they full rebuild? I think that there is a genuine argument that they full rebuild this season. Trade Fox, trade everybody. Why? Because this year's draft that is coming up is flushed with talent. I mean, even outside the top 10, you might be able to get a potential like franchise guy, right? Like, this is a draft that everyone wants picks to, that everyone really wants to compete in and whatnot. And Sacramento, yes, don't own their pick this year. However, Sacramento's first round pick to Atlanta protected for selections 1 through 12 in 2025 and 1 through 10 in 2026. If Sac has not conveyed a first round pick by Atlanta by 2026, then Sacramento will instead convey its 2026 second round pick and 2027 second round pick to Atlanta. So basically, if the 2025 first and or the 2026 first land in 2025 top 12 and then 2026 top 10, Sacramento gets to keep that pick, which would mean that, hey, why not go and tank now? Why not try to go get that piece that you can kind of build your franchise through now, get a bunch of picks, try to get other picks in this year's draft by trading Fox and some of these other guys, right? Like, I just think that if you were ever going to hit that rebuild button, hit that reset button, now is probably the best time to do so, right? Like, what is your other option? To keep being mediocre? To keep being middle of the pack, and you know you're headed down that path either way, right? Like, you look at Sacramento right now. They are 13-16. They are currently 8 games back of the Pelicans that are, 5-27. Right? There are some bad teams, right? They're currently 6 games behind basically all the bad teams in the East and West, right? If you just tear it down, you're probably going to end up with a top, 7 pick at worst. Or you get lucky. You never know, especially you trade De'Aaron Fox, all that stuff. Now, if you end up with like the 4th worst record and you leapfrog everyone, or you get a top 3 pick or a top 5 pick, you just got your new franchise guy, right? You just got that piece that you can now carve for the future, probably still going to be in the top 10 next season. So now 2 straight drafts in which you can get the pieces to build around, probably get a bunch of young talent, right? Like all these things, like trade Sabonis to the Warriors, go get Kuminga and Moody and Pod and whatever other young guys you can get, right? Trade Fox to the highest bidder, right? If you can go and to Houston and get some of their young guys, or go to Sacramento and get some of their young guys, right? And just kind of get this young core and foundation. Go get a pick in this year's draft. Go get a pick in the 2026 draft. And now you've hit the reset button, right? And kind of get back, and now you can kind of correct the ship a little bit. Right now, you can kind of right the shit and kind of learn from your mistakes. Because what other options do you have? They're just going to keep making bad decisions. They're going to end up overpaying for like a Kuzma or something like that. It's not going to change anything. And then they're still going to be bad. And then Fox is still going to want out. And then they're going to have to sell all these guys for half the price. Just call it quits now. Get it over with now. Just do it, be done, and move on. Rather than like trying to do all this. It's so silly to watch. Sacramento, they're a sinking ship right now. And yeah, sure, you could plug it, but you know that hole still there. You know that's inevitably gonna, open up again, and that water's gonna flood, and eventually this ship is going to fully sink. So instead of having it sink, park it to shore, and then build a new ship, right? Get a new ship in order, and sell the parts of the old ship, and get the money that you need, and then some to maybe correct the right ship. You're not winning a championship this year, not winning a championship probably next year. De'Aaron Fox, by the time they actually get to the place to where they compete, De'Aaron Fox probably not even going to be the guy anymore, right? Like, they're all going to be probably in their 30s, if not that. And that's if you can even figure it out by then. They're probably stuck with DeMar DeRozan unless you just sell them for scraps, right? Like, you could probably get a really good return for Fox and a really good return for Sabonis. Sell those two guys, right? You keep Keegan Murray if you want. Otherwise, maybe look to sell him. There might be some bidder, like just really tear it down. Keon Ellis is young, and you got some pieces, but like I would trade Herter or trade everybody. Anybody that you can get off of right now, you get off of. Stack up as many assets as you possibly can. Go get a pick in this year's just heavily loaded draft and see how that plays out. Because I don't see a scenario where this isn't eventually the route that they're going to have to go on. So instead of prolonging the inevitable and instead of pretending like this isn't what's going to happen and that, no, we're going to be able to fix this, just come to the realization, right? It's better to start the rebuild early than late. You see it all the time with teams. Teams are always selling late, and it ends up biting them in the behind, where they could have been 2-3 years ahead, and instead try to, for whatever reason, look at like teams like Chicago. They should have had a fire sale 2 seasons ago, and they'd probably be in a much better position than they're in right now, right? Rather than essentially selling DeMar DeRozan for nothing, can't get off of Zach LaVine. Like, it's just poor decision making, again and again and again and again. Sacramento, why are they in this situation? Poor decision making. And instead of continuing to make poor decisions, hit the reset button, clear the deck, right? And then now you kind of can start hopefully righting the ship again and getting back to that position that you were 2 seasons ago, where you were this good, young, promising team that looked like you might be able to compete with the best of them and potentially, win an NBA championship later on down the road, 2-3 years from now. Instead, they decided to go get the worst thing that they needed, the last thing that they needed, in a DeMar DeRozan, and now they can't win. They fired their coach, De'Aaron Fox. He looks completely checked out. So why? What's the point? What's the point of just waiting it out and waiting it around and just, it's silly to me. Go make the move. Go make the leap. Go take the jump, right? Sell off De'Aaron Fox. Sell off Sabonis, sell off all these guys, and just move on and be done, right? Because the other alternative is you're prolonging the inevitable for what? It's pointless to me, right? Like, just get to the end result. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Do you think, like, yes, at this point, we all know it's coming. We all know whether it's at the trade deadline or it's in the offseason or whatever. Get it over with. Just sell off Fox, sell off Sabonis, sell off DeMar, whoever you can. Is there anyone specific that you'd want to keep? Do you want them to kind of go the retool route? Is it possible that, hey, like, just go full retool, right? Like, get rid of Fox, and you have DeRozan, you have Ellis, right? You'd have these guys and, like, see what you can do and maybe add a piece or two. I don't know, maybe. But I don't know. Outside of that, I think you should just sell. But do you agree? Do you think the same thing? Yeah. Time to sell. However you feel. Whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it either way, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.